main chase.
Hello, and welcome to another little live stream on my channel. This time I'm going to be looking at sequels, semi-sequels, and spiritual sequels. Basically any kind of game that's part of a series or has had multiple releases that are different enough to talk about or have inspired other games, that type of thing. As long as there's some connection between the games, a legitimate connection, I want to have a little look at them. So that is what we'll be doing today, and I figured I will start with a game that it's kind of a lesser known version to a lot of people of a game that maybe more people saw, and that too had its own sort of sequels and spin-offs, and that is Kunio-kun from Technos. Now, Kunio-kun is the original Japanese release of a game a lot of people might know by the name of Renegade. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to start with Kunio-kun, the Japanese version, which is actually quite different in the way it's been themed. So there we go. We've got a little intro with your guy being beat up, and then you've still got your subway section. And one of the key things with this game is how the controls work. It's you've got your runs, and you can run into walls like that, but you have different. You have two. Lose my words here. You have two attack buttons. One is left and one is right, as well as your jump button. So you have to use the correct attack button, depending on which side of the screen, which side of the where the enemy is relative to you. And usually, if they're on the right side of the screen, you're going to be using the right fire button. If you're on the left side of the screen, you're going to be using the left one, because you're mostly in the center of the screen. That's what I was trying to say. But yes, it's considered a pretty good game, this one, and it just is one, as I said, that did get significantly reworked for the export releases. So we will play this one a little bit and then look at the version maybe more people are familiar with. The series itself continued in Japan under this name. So the Renegade name was the shorter-lived of the two names, even if in the arcades at the time you're definitely more likely to have encountered it under the Renegade name if you were outside of Japan. But this version is very heavily Japanese themed. I mean, you've even got your life bar title Japanese up there, all the speeches in Japanese. It's also quite a tough game. I'm not especially good at it. I mean, you may have picked that up from many of my streams. Also, look here, the high score entry name is also all in Japanese. So this was definitely a game that at the time was only really made for a Japanese audience. And we're only briefly starting this one. Hey, Ozzy guy, hello, good to see you. So you are, as is often the case, our first chat visitor. So I'm sure you will have many facts. There we go. We can win, and you can do the jump kicks as well in this. I mean, just don't do that. That's foolish. There we go. That's an effective jump kick. Yes, it doesn't play quite like your average beat 'em up. There's a lot more. Say this. You've got the momentum of the movements and the flying punches and flying kicks. But it was an important game. It inspired a lot of other games. I mean, I don't think we would have had the genre as it was without this game. It proved as a viable genre. And obviously Technos went on to do other games like Double Dragon, which is another rather famous one, and many people copied Double Dragon. Maybe we would not have Final Fight and Streets of Rage without Double Dragon. And so yeah, in terms of where this stands historically, yeah, we can punch on the floor like this. It's an important game, so that's why I thought we'd start with this one. So you do have the time limit to contend with too. But yeah, this, rather than something like Double Dragon where it's just walk along beat 'em up, this is more of an arena battle against lots of characters. But the mechanics that sort of ended up in Double Dragon, a lot of them can be found here. Yes, everybody's running around. So there we go. Oh dear. I did want to try and win this stage, but I think timing out is as bad as losing. But I think we're going to lose again, unfortunately. Yeah, run out of time. Which is just as bad as being defeated. Go back to that game over screen. So it's still very Japanese at release. But what I was saying though was, I guess in some ways, well, it's still the same game under the hood. Renegade itself is almost like a sequel because it's been reworked so much.
Good luck, kid.
So you've got your English speech samples, you've got an entirely redone background, entirely redone sprite art, still a subway, still the same music, but you can see that they've completely westernized it. Oh yes, you can run off the platform like that. Which is a very quick game over. You don't do that. There's a general piece of advice. Let's try again without the platform drive there. It can lead to one of the quickest game overs you're going to find in an arcade game. Look, you've got all the same moves, the mechanics are the same, but it feels like a fresh game just because it's got this completely fresh coat of paint. And let's say this is the version most people will know, even if it's the Kunio-kun series that became more popular in the end. If you're in an arcade in the 80s, in the US or in Europe, you more than likely would have seen a Renegade. I've never been especially good at it. Yes, you can just shoulder barge people like that too. You see the boss waiting up there? Really, that's the boss. You timed these right. That wasn't timed right, was it? Oh dear. Come on. There we go. Take you out. Take you out and you out. There we go. That's better. That's more like it. There we go. Let's see the boss comes down. I don't remember if the boss was standing there in the Japanese version. Hey, Abandoned Witch Gaming Network, it's good to see you again. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just sort myself out here. You remember playing the Kunio-kun version? That's interesting. I guess it's possible that version got bootlegged outside of Japan. But definitely more likely to have seen Renegade back in the day. And yeah, I think that the theme here does seem a little more generic. Oh, come on, I failed on the timer again. Anyway, after this stage, there are other stages where you're kicking people off bikes and all sorts of other stuff. We'll give the Renegade version one more credit. I mean, will we get past the first stage? Maybe. Maybe not. It is interesting to see games that get rethemed to the point where they feel like they're sequels, even though they are the same game. I like a lot of Technos games. It does have a fair bit of slowdown at times. Not too bad though, considering how many enemies are on screen. That is one thing to note with Renegade in general. For a game in the 80s, you're facing off against a lot of people at once. It's just that odd slowdown from time to time. Punch in the head. Behind. Oh. You just take a bit of getting used to the left and right punch mechanic, but that was a thing at the time. Kind of makes sense if you think about it tactically. You don't have to turn around to attack, you can attack in either direction. Gives the game a bit of personality. Come on. I should have been... Oh, come on. There we go, you're down. And the boss is out again. We're almost out of time once more. No. Get you down. No, out of time again. So the time limits are quite tough. And yeah, if you run out of time, that is it. That is the end of your game. No lives, nothing. Your energy is your life. Chat is working fine. Is it appearing on the screen? Yeah, it is appearing on the screen again. It wasn't on the last stream. It stopped. It froze. But yeah, you got more traditional name entry screen here. Well, no, the Japanese version was a big grid of letters to enter, whereas this is a traditional scroll through. But yeah, very different version of the game. But that is not really why we are looking at that one. I mean, the real reason to talk about that one, at least to me, is the computer-only sequel, which is Target Renegade for the Spectrum. Well, it's on multiple 8-bits, but the Spectrum is one such machine. Now, this was not in the arcades. And a lot of people consider it to be one of the best games on the platforms. Already started the game without trying. That's not very clever of me, was it? Okay, let's do that. So, Target Renegade. Let's just sped through that until it was game over again. How do I get the name of the game to appear in OBS? I've got a little plugin a little plugin for MAME that will write the name of the file out, the name of the game out to a file, and OBS is just reading that text file. It's a plugin I did myself based on another one, so it's not something you can just download. Anyway, so Target Renegade. Now, the original Renegade was popular enough on systems like the Spectrum for Imagine to want to do a sequel, and that's what we got here. And a lot of people really like this. I'm not one of those people. I think this loses so much that the original Renegade had. It's slow. It's even more generic. It's got a very basic control scheme. Yeah, I really don't like this. It's just using the Renegade name for a bad game, if you ask me. But a lot of magazines still rate this like as one of the best games in the system, and I can't understand why. I much prefer the original Renegade, even on the Spectrum, over Target Renegade. Yeah, you have to jump kick the bike. Hey Liam, hey Joanne. Anyway, good to see you all. And yes, I should pay attention to the game. The plugin is not currently... Yeah, I have to jump kick the bike, which means I have to press the right buttons. What? Yeah, which means I have to do that. At the right time. There we go. But again, because these versions only use a single fire button as well, it doesn't have that unique control scheme that Renegade had, or, you know, it's... And yes, this was also on the CPC, I think C64 too. But, I mean, okay, I know I know those platforms did not have the best selection of beat-em-ups. But, you know, I don't think there's any point in this game where you're fighting more than, I think it's 3 enemies like now. Whereas in Renegade, and even the Spectrum port of Renegade, I think you had far more enemies on the screen. I don't think there are any moments in this when you can throw people off subway platforms. It's just walk along and beat people up. And got some nice animations, sure. But is this one of the best games on the Spectrum? I would disagree. I would say it wasn't. Get the weapon. Yeah, we get a weapon. Okay. But you know, I've watched people do playthroughs of this, and I don't know. I'm usually bored to tears watching them. It's just, yeah, slow paced. Walk, hit somebody. Walk, hit somebody. I mean, it is a computer only sequel. And those things, it wasn't that common to see computer-only sequels. There were a few. But the original Renegade was big enough to get one. But to me, it's just a cash-in. I mean, yeah, it's not as bad as Renegade 3 in terms of execution. Renegade 3 was another home exclusive that ended up introducing time travel mechanics, but was just horribly unbalanced. But again, they're more Double Dragon than they are Renegade. This isn't the fast, frantic running action across platforms. I mean, this is just slow-paced music. It's not got that whole rock and roll style to the music. It's dull. There's a NES version. Is that Aussie guy? I've not played the NES version. Might have to have a look at that. But it was developed by Software Creations, so not one of the arcade developers then. They didn't take it and bring it back, but I mean, the original game had a quite short timer. You felt like everything was fast paced. Now we've got a timer that's in the minutes, and just knock an enemy down, wait for an enemy to get back up. Get beaten up, and guess we can use our jump kick if we want against people too. Get up. There we go. Right. We'll just get our weapon out and jump kick with the weapon in our hand. I think there is a way to attack the enemies when they're on the floor still, but I can't remember what it is. But look, we barely moved. I don't know. I don't get why this one is so highly rated. Another guy wanders in just to have this one get him. I mean, I had a Spectrum. I know what was on the Spectrum. There were lots of fun, action-packed games on the Spectrum. There was the original Renegade even on the Spectrum, and was better than this. But we'll try and get somewhere. The CPC version is much the same, just with a bit less colour. And music that breaks after a while, which I don't think happens on the Spectrum. I don't know, I say less colour, maybe it has more colour. I think the Amstrad version... Oh look, I've run out of time even with all that time. The Amstrad version... I mean, lots of people love it on the Amstrad. I don't know, maybe a bit more... I think it's the same code base at the end of the day. Now we've got along to the elevator, and the game is so forgettable I can't remember much about even the CPC version after having watched it many times on stream. So after, especially coming off the back of playing the Renegade and Kunio-kun arcade games, this does not hold up. Oh look, we've got an elevator down to another level of the subway, which looks just about the same. Now we've got another going bike again. I mean, and I think we're dead. So yeah, people like it. I'd say I'm not one of those people. I think it was a bit of a cash-in. I think it just loses everything that Renegade had. We can briefly look at the CPC version if it loads. But after that, we'll move on to another game. So let's have a quick look. So yeah, I think it is a mode 0, isn't it? So look, play music. Yeah, it's mode 0, so it's more colourful. But the thing is, does it look better? I don't know. It does have more colours, but it's still the same ugly game, and it's quite an ugly selection of colours. I mean, the CPC ports go, yeah, it's fine, but it somehow feels even more generic. The lack of sprite detail just makes it even less memorable for me, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, Human Killing Machine would potentially be one. I'm not going to be doing more colours, but the sprites are not as nice. I know I didn't like the look of it in some way. I thought maybe it was one of those mode 1 ports where it just had less colours, but no, it's more colours but very ugly sprites. That was why I didn't like the CPC version of that. So anyway. No. I think we're gonna go with let's stick with some arcadey stuff for now. Let's have a look at Green Beret from Konami. Now this is the original game we're having a look at. So we're going to play this one briefly. Not spend too much time on it. We played this quite recently anyway. So you walk along, you jump, you stab people, you climb up ladders. You see, stabby. We've got a flamethrower. And yeah, this is considered an all-time classic game. A lot of people have very fond memories of this one, and it is rather playable. Frame rate is not 60 frames a second. I think it updates every other frame, so 30. But yeah, I think we looked at this when we looked at a bunch of Konami games the other day, and it's an appealing game, also known as Russian Attack. Simple, but sometimes simple is all you need. Controls are responsive. Climb up here to get past those mines more easily. Walk along here. You're only going to play like 1 credit on that. So, keep going. No, it's not to be confused with Ivan's game, as Aussie Guy says, the one that was dumped quite recently. That will be another series in its own right, the games with the same name. Oh, a few of those. Shouldn't really waste our more powerful weapons, but take it all out. Oh, and failed to do that completely because I jumped into the end. So, Green Beret. I think most people know Green Beret. Again, it's one of those games that got ported to a bunch of things. But it did basically have a sequel, which was called Missing in Action. So, yes, which version are we going to play? You know what? Being a Konami game, I'm going to play the Japanese version because... So, yeah, if you're playing Konami games, always play the Japanese versions if you can. The Missing in Action. This is the 1989 sequel, follow-up, whatever you want to call it, to Green Beret. And this one is much less known. It's, you know, it's the same sort of thing, with a long wheeling knife. Now we do have nice smooth animations and bigger sprites. But the pace has gone a bit. It seems slower paced. You feel awkwardly slow, in fact, for the running animation you've got here. Yes, die. I take a grenade to, well, you. So, yeah. You could go down here as well. Oh, there's a secret tunnel. Walk down the tunnel. But it does lose a lot of the charm of the original game. So. Yeah. Take that to the face. Ow. That's not going to reach you, is it? Nope. So... Wow, I got a flat tire just in time. There's also a PlayStation follow-up, is there? Russian Attack Expatriate. I wasn't aware of that one, Aussie guy. What type of game is that one? I guess it can't have been too popular? Or was it Japan only? Oh, I don't know. I guess with the title of Russian Attack, it would have been Japan only. Just not one I've heard of. I don't know. Maybe it was Japan only. So, did not come up when I was researching these things, but a lot of the research for this stream was just based on games I'd played myself in the past. Yeah. Okay. Okay, game over. No, I don't want a game over yet. Now, you do cycle through your weapons on this one. Wow, no continue feature. Okay. Fine. Did I miss? Let's try the other set. Let's actually try the American version. So here we go. Let's run along again. Did I miss the continue feature? Or was there really no continue feature? Jump over the flashing lines. Have to climb up here. Now, is this starting on the second level anyway? Third, I think it is. So, do we have Konami? I think we have Konami being typical Konami here, because I changed set to the American parent set, and we now appear to be starting on the level that was previously the second level. Konami. This is what I mean about Konami and them messing with their games for the export markets. And this level isn't as good. So, yeah, the parent set appears to skip the first level. This does not continue. So did I just miss? No, if you press a button, it immediately gets rid of the continue screen. It doesn't make the countdown more quickly. It just that's just I don't want to continue. I don't want to continue. Go straight back to the title screen. So are there any other clones of this? So we've got a second set, version S. What does this version do? So this version still starts in the jungle. Right. So it's only the parent set that for some reason seems to skip the jungle stage, or maybe it puts it later. So if you do play M.I.A, keep that in mind. That the parent set skips the jungle stage. Because I'm sure I had a grenade at this point in the other set too. I don't know if I missed that or if that's another set difference. Anyway, we're not trying to study set differences. We're trying to look at sequels. Yeah, this is definitely a sequel to, say, Green Beret. Can I go left? Is there any point in going left? No. Why on earth does it let you go left if there's no point to going left then? And already, I'm feeling the Japanese version played a lot better. There's just something that feels off about these other versions. Oh, PlayStation 3 Russian Attack Expatriate. That's why I wouldn't have heard of it. Yeah, I wasn't looking into PS3. I still never heard of it on the PS3. I'm guessing it was a digital online, a download game. I don't remember seeing a physical release of it, at least. Or maybe only in Japan. Not sure. But yes, Missing in Action, M.I.A, is a sequel to Green Beret that really is relatively unknown. Not many people talk about it. It doesn't quite have the charm of the original. The sprites look a bit silly. It's still got the same basic gameplay. Feels more like maybe a tribute game. And as we've seen, it's got that weird Konami thing where at least one of the sets has a different level order and the difficulty balance seems to have been changed. I don't know. If you like Green Beret, you might want to have a look at it, or you might just want to stick with the game you know and love, which is Green Beret. Let's have a look now at. Let's switch to a computer system. Let's bring up the X68000. And a little game by the name of Thunder Force 2. Let's go to load. Right. Produced. 1988 by Technosoft Corporation. So. Here we go. Inspiration. So, Thunder Force 2 is a an 8-directional scrolling shooter. And it was on a number of platforms. There's a Mega Drive version of this. I'm playing the X68K version because, as I said before, I do like to use these streams to show different versions of games running in MAME. Things you might not have played yourself. So, yeah. Now, this is quite a busy arena shooter. It's one of those that makes you realise that this type of game could potentially work even with a much busier, sort of almost bullet hell setup, which we never got. I would have loved to see Cave do a multi-directional shooter with their take on things. But we never got that. Yes, we've got to bomb the targets, I believe. Who's actually... We can use the laser there, but our bomb still only hits the ground. There we go. So you've got your speech when you pick things up, which is something these Thunder Force games like, as we may see later. Some nice transparency and layered. Hey, Game City, watch my lives. I mean, watching my lives would be good advice for me playing the game. But good to see you, Game City. Good to see you, and good day, BM too. Good day. Yes, I should watch my lives, but thank you for watching my live stream. So yes, this is the X68K version of Thunder Force 2. Which in itself is obviously a sequel, because it's called Thunder Force 2, not Thunder Force 1. There we go. So if you destroy the middle one, it does take them all out. Yes, you can swap between your weapons, which is what I'm doing. I've got laser and wide at the moment, you see. Oh! Yeah, general piece of advice, try not to crash into the side of the arena. A bit unsurprisingly hurt. Where are we going? We've got this. We've got triple bomb now. That could be handy. Although it seems to take away our air attack, so maybe not too much. So it might be handy against basers. Oh. Is this 55 kilohertz? I don't know. A lot of X68K games. Apparently it's running at 56.69, so 57-ish. So we can have full auto, we can have more lives. Start on easy. You can start on different stages. Let's start on stage 2. So we get to have a quick look at another level, and considering I didn't even know what was in the first level, that's probably a bit brave. Maybe the CRT filter is just smoothing things out so you can't see that it's jitters, because it is a little jittery. So, yes. I want to continue more. Is that the same announcer that did the Thunder Dragon 2 announcements? Because it sounds very similar. So yeah, I'm not particularly good at this, but you can see what the game's like. It's Thunder Force 2. It is an 8-directional shooter bomber sort of game. You've got your switchable power-ups. Everything else. Lots of forward shot, back shot. You get the idea. You get the idea of the general. It's got lots of speech when you pick stuff up. It appears to say something when you run out of lives, which So game over. Game over, game over. That was Thunder Force 2 on the X68000. But, you know, Thunder Force had its fair share of sequels, including Thunder Force AC, which was an arcade game.
Thunder Force Survivor
Hmm. Yeah, this is a harder one. The one that kills me off very quickly if I'm not careful. But you can see, it's got the similar sort of weapon system. You're picking up different weapons, you can switch between them. You've got your different speeds, you've got your back shot, forward shots, you've got, you know, you can tell it's a sequel. Even though this is now changed to a side-scroller, it is, it still has that Thunder Force DNA to it. The AC version here actually mixes stages from 2 and 3, the Mega Drive versions. 2 did have, I think, some side-scrolling stages too we didn't see. But, you know, primarily 2 is that 8-directional shooter we saw. Oh dear, I'm in trouble now because I lost my life and my pals. Which is not what you're going to do in this game. But not losing lives. Just give you an extra life, but you power down, that's a bit of a problem. Here we go. Yes, it's one of those where if you learn it and you remember what to use for each situation, it's a lot easier than if you forget. So it is a bit of a learn by trial now. At least we've got our claw back now. That's handy. It gives us a fair bit more power. Now, if you want a really hard version of this, play the prototype version that is more based on the Mega Drive. That one seems brutally difficult. They've not reworked the stages on that one yet, and for some reason it seems to be running as if it was on maximum difficulty. This is not super easy, but not ridiculous either. Emergency, emergency. Push, I'm already dying. The enemy slowly changes colour as it dies. And there we go. You played the SNES version before Game City. How does the SNES version compare? Is it one of those that has far too many slowdowns? And hey, Mass Ninja, welcome. I hope you're doing well. And it's like, yeah, Data's last mission is similar, isn't it? You're right, Aussie guy. Look, wavy backgrounds. They wanted you to know the hardware, which is Mega Drive type hardware, could do line scroll. Oh dear, I got hit. Do I want to continue? No, not really. I'm okay. I'm okay. I think we should probably take a look at another game in this series. We'll probably make it a 3 for this one because it's a fascinating series, really. I mean, that was the only arcade entry, but it was also on home systems. It was primarily a series that was on home systems, is what I'm trying to say. And it got another sequel after 2 and 3 on the Genesis, Thunder Force 4, aka Lightening Force, which is a technical masterpiece. I mean, I'd like to play Galaxy Force 2, but Galaxy Force 1 isn't done yet, and I can't really show them both off. But, you see, from Mega Drive hardware, this thing is absolutely stunning. Just running on a stock Mega Drive, no extra chips, nothing fancy. All these layers of well, road scroll layers, parallax layers. Very little slowdown, really, for what it's doing. And the series would continue on the Saturn and the PlayStation. And again, there's some really magnificent games. We're not going to look at those versions, we're only going to briefly look at this one. But it is a shame the arcade did not get a version of this. Some people have said it was meant to, as Thunder Force AC2. but so far there's no solid evidence of this coming to the arcades, or nothing actually solid has shown up. But it improves on Thunder Force 3 in every way, and is rightly considered one of the best shooters on the Mega Drive. Genesis, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I'm doing badly at it because I'm very good at this type of game. So again, you have to really learn the types of attacks you're dealing with. Oh, there we go. Actually, I think I should give this one more try because that was pathetic. It does look very nice indeed. The Genesis driver and MAME, it works for most games. Under the hood, it's not the best, but for the most part, games will run at least. A few will have some slight glitches, but very rarely does it fail entirely. And I can tell you the few games that I know will fail entirely. The Killing Game Show, for some reason, very time insensitive, and I think the Sesame Street one. It's got annoying glitches in some cases where the sprite masking mode isn't quite handled properly. I think even Streets of Rage suffers from that in place. Oh, we're back on the same level. Never mind. But, yeah. Other than that, yeah, it holds up pretty well. There's one or two games maybe with the Z80 and 68K don't seem to talk properly. It's when you start to get to the add-ons like the 32X and the Sega CD, the compatibility gets worse, and some of that might be due to the timings on the Mega Drive side. I'm not sure. So, in terms of compatibility rate, it's definitely one of the higher ones in the more popular systems. A bit slow down there. I mean, yeah, it gets early down there. I mean, sometimes you just can't avoid it. You're asking a bit too much of the Mega Drive for things like this, really. Okay, let's get out the way of that. Blast us a bit more. You're going to get lasered if I stay there. There. Never mind. I'm going to take you out. So very creative enemy designs too. Not just the stage designs looking fantastic, but even the enemy designs. More layering here. Underwater. Look at the size of that enemy too. I'm guessing that will be done with a tile map rather than sprites and line scroll and whatever tricks they can find to give the illusion that this is a much more capable hardware than it really is. You're not going to find many arcade shooters that look this good from the period. Technosoft did a fantastic job with it. Never mind. Yeah, there's coloured tints, palette effects. It's they've done everything they can to give this a really good look. There is a fair bit of, learn by trial and error on it, because you never quite know what the boss attacks are going to be until you've managed to face that boss, but or where the safe areas are. I mean, you might not think the flames up there are safe, but they are. That claw, on the other hand, is not safe. And there we go. That's a game over on this one. But yes, it's a series that didn't start in the arcades, had an arcade entry, and then had lots more entries on the home systems. So it's worth having a look around. If you like a bit of Thunder Force and you like your shooters and you like technically impressive games on the platforms they existed on. So there we go. That was the Lightning Forces version, which was a very silly rename of the series, but it was that period in time when we got silly renames of series. Right, so what shall we have a look at now? Okay. Yeah, let's briefly look at that one. So, good old classic Tekken game, Bombjack here. Hey, Atom. No, I mean, I think there were slight tints to the colours, Atom. But it felt like it anyway. When you're playing it, it feels like everything changes. I don't know. I think the Mega Drive palette is quite limited though. So if you do start applying tints to things too much, you potentially don't have as many colours to work with because you're dealing with a 9-bit palette, which is 3 bits of each colour. So to tint something is actually quite difficult. So I think they did a good enough job of tinting what was there, but it couldn't really be done to the same extent you see on the SNES. Yes, Tekken Tecmo. The classic little game. Takes a bit of getting used to the controls because they're kind of sticky, but that's sort of the point. Everything you have to do is deliberate. One of those games with lots of classic little tunes. Very strategic too. If you get the lip bomb in order, you get more points. Now, and yeah, I've got a selection of possibilities when it comes to sequels to look at for this one. I mean, there was the home-only Bombjack 2, which plays nothing like Bombjack, which I could look at, but probably won't today. Might look at that one another time. However, let's play a bit of this. I'm not going to play too much of the original Bombjack. That's it, there we go. Game over. You get the idea. You jump around, you collect the bombs, try and collect them in order. And don't play as badly as I just played there. I'm a bit better at Bombjack than that looked. But no, it did get the sequel in the arcades too. And kind of a one that's got a bit of a funny version, let's just say. So if you notice the name of the set here, it does say Bombjack Twin Prototype with Adult Pictures. Now, Bombjack Twin, I don't know if this is actually a prototype. The boards it appears on always look prototypey, but it might just be a Korean release. And don't worry, I will be careful about the content. Why am I dying on level 1? But yes, we can fly around. And Aussie guy with some Bombjack facts there, who designed it and worked on it in their previous work, which included Ladybug and Mr. Do. Yes, it's not really surprising it turned out so well then. But this version was done, I believe, by NMK for Tecmo. Now, I do wonder if this version, the specific version we're playing, may have some Duyong influence, the Korean company, who NMK had some kind of partnership with, from what I'm told. You'll see in a bit anyway. So, get Firebomb. Ooh. So, you see a bonus stage. If you get the flashing bombs in order, you get a bigger bonus, but I'm just trying to clear it. And then what happens after the bonus stage? in this prototype version? Well, you get your summary. Fair enough. Standard. And then you get a picture of a random lady. Why Bombjack Twin needs pictures of random ladies in this version, I don't know. But from what I'm told, I think they're the same ladies that appear in Gun Dealer, which was sort of one of the games that NMK worked on with Duyong. Bombjack is best described as if Mr. Do was a platformer. That's an interesting way to look at it. I never really considered it like that. But maybe. I mean, you've got to clear out everything on the level. Mr. Do doesn't really try and force much ordering on you, does it? Mr. Do is more about using environmental hazards to trap the enemies, so it doesn't feel that close to me. This game does feel a bit like when we looked at Missing in Action. Does lose something visually compared to the original. Obviously it's newer 16-bit looking graphics, but it does lose a bit of the charm. But I will play this version a bit more because I think it's safe for a while. But I can't remember if you ever get full states of undress in this one or not. But the levels, it's clearly inspired by the original. These sort of locations follow it somewhat. Even some of the level layouts are the same as the original game. They clearly wanted to make something that paid tribute to their older work. And this also has a 2-player simultaneous, hence the name Bombjack Twin. Let's just go this way around then. Let's not bother with... They're not playing the bonus stages properly. So then we get a summary. And we get a different picture. And yes, as the game progresses, they do start taking their clothes off and everything else. But so I don't know if you end up with entirely new pictures on this version or not. But it's very strange to see it in there, and it only appears on these very prototypey looking boards. So I don't know if it was an idea they had early on that they decided to scrap, or if it was, say, they could be Korean boards. It could be the Korean version. They seem official. It seems like an official code base. It doesn't seem like a hack. But, very weird. Because Bombjack clearly does not need that. You can understand it when it's kind of a weak game in the first place. Say, something like the Gauss Panic games, which are, I mean, it's kicks. It's not the best game in the world, so you put that in there. If you can incentive, are just some of the really basic knockoff maze games, but Bombjack and Bombjack Twin themselves have good gameplay. You know what this does remind me of, though, or what reminds me of Bombjack quite a lot, is the Promat game Disco Boy. Something about that, the feel of that one does remind me of Bombjack Twin. It's a different type of game. It's a shooter, but it almost feels like they played Bombjack Twin or similar games before making it. But there's a home computer version with nude. Well, there might be. I don't know what people have made on these systems. Anyway, so I suppose we're not going to look at the 8-bit computer version, which is more of a puzzle platformer, but we will briefly look at the now ridiculously set named NVS_Mighty BJ, which is based on the NES game, which is another one of the sequels to Bombjack, and the versus system is an arcade NES. And I don't know, this is This is not a sequel that ever made any sense to me. Now you stand on chests and you jump up from the chest to open the chests. And you're going through these caverns. In terms of sequels that seem far too distant from their source material, this reminds me of Chucky Egg 2, which was a really bad sequel to the classic computer game. Although I'm trying to do ones with an arcade connection in this stream, so we won't be looking at Chucky Egg 2. Yeah, you can just go through these caves, and yeah, it's got Bombjack in it. It's got the elements of Bombjack, like bombs and power-ups, but what? it just feels like it completely lacks direction. Oh look, let's just go to the exit. Oh, the video stream's still on tape. Sorry, Tarte. There, I do that sometimes. There we go. I forgot the game is it's Bombjack. I expect it to be vertical. It's not vertical. Yes, I was tarted. But yeah, you just go through these rooms, from room to room. And we should probably just restart it because of that. But there we go. So yeah, there don't seem to be any lit bombs. We can just pick up whichever bombs we want. Walk along. I mean, why? I don't know. So things in chests. Oh look, we've got the power. We can kill the enemies out of a chest for no reason. The others have got money in. The whole point of Bombjack was to try and sequence the order the bomb should be picked up. You can still have your glide thing where you can go like this, tap and glide along. Which I didn't mention when I was playing Bombjack, but yeah, one of the features of Bombjack is the ability to glide through the air with your cape, which is, you know, fair enough. But you just get everything and go to the next room, and then you get this screen. Where, you know, you do get the lit bomb order in this screen. This is more like a traditional Bombjack level. Between the caverns. Your power-ups even appear the normal Bombjack way in here. So suddenly we have a normal Bombjack level. But you know, we've done the Bombjack level, then we get the exit. We've got to get out the cave. This came before Bombjack Twin, yes, and then suddenly we're still in one of these cavern sections where it's just like chests, and you know it doesn't play like Bombjack again, and the power-ups come out of chests, and this is two games mashed together in a way that doesn't work, and that opens the door so we can get out the cave there, or we can keep going. And now we're in another room that plays like Bombjack, where the power-ups will spawn, and look, it doesn't come from a chest; it just spawns because it's Bombjack again. Yeah, this game's never really made much sense. It's like, why do we need these caverns? You know, these between cavern sections that don't play like Bombjack. Yeah, the collect bombs in order exists in the single screen rooms, but in the caverns, the bombs are just pickups, and the power-ups are in chests, and what? So this section is Bombjack in name only. Yeah, sure, but you can't just ignore these because you have to find the items in some cases to get out of these rooms. Which means going through all these chests. This room is already open, so we can just go down there and get out. But if we want points, we've got to go through all this. Yeah. I mean, I'll hurry up things there. I don't remember how to open those chests. Oh look, we've got to go past. Oh yeah, I didn't open that chest up there to get. Oh look, it's a maze puzzle game. There we go. Now we can actually get through there. Oh, we can even drop down here, can't I? And there must be a way to open that door. There must be some key somewhere that we've not seen, and then we actually get to play Bombjack again. I mean, I would have preferred just a better version of Bombjack, to be honest. I mean, this is a fine enough Bombjack style thing, but the actual Bombjack gameplay is too short and too rare. It's the boring cave bit that takes up all your time. No, then we do have to get out of here again. But I guess they wanted to do something different for a home release. I mean, oh, you do have another mechanic, apparently, where you can change colour, which I don't even know what it does. But the other button does something. There we go, I'm now green. Now we've got 2 cavern sections in a row. Oh, that's how you open the other chests, okay. But not satisfied with giving me 1 cavern section in a row, now we've got to climb up the cavern section. So, I don't know what the different colours do, to be honest. Again, why can I change different colours? Are we actually going to get a bomb room here? No, we've got another cavern room. No, versus games aren't on a timer, Atom. Versus games are adapted properly to be arcade games. It's the play choice game, 10 games that are on a timer. So this is your lives are your lives. And yeah, the difficulty balance is not quite right for an arcade game either. I mean, look, another cavern section. Please just let me actually play Bombjack. Yeah, you see what I mean? Before it was kind of promising. It seemed like you went from one Bombjack room to the not so good cavern rooms, and now it's just cavern room after cavern room after cavern room after cavern room. I don't know. Right, maybe I have to find a way to unlock the other bomb rooms. Anyway, just kill me off, please. Yeah, this is hey, Amstrad. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's too easy to be an arcade game. It doesn't try and kill you off enough. The actual bits that play like Bombjack are far too spread out amongst really boring cavern, open the chest bits. And yeah, that was not the best sequel Bombjack saw. Bombjack Twin was much more enjoyable, to say the least. So, let's knock that one off our list. So, yeah, let's go with a quite famous one. This is already a sequel in itself, but this is Major Title 2 from IREM, also known as the IREM Skins game. So, yes, they did do Bombjack Rotten, didn't they, Atom? So, Major Title, Tournament Leader. Major Title 2. So what is, apart from a bit loud, Major Title 2. Let's have the European Woody course. Let's have the Power Player. Great Kevin's birthdays. So there's our course preview. Very nicely stylized. I quite like Bombjack on the home computers, even though it's absolutely not Bombjack. I kind of like it. So yes, you can change your direction, you can change your stance. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Change your power. In fact, we probably shouldn't be using that club. There we go. Let's hit the ball and see where it goes. Yes, this is Major Title 2, and there was a Major Title 1. But does it tell it? Yes, it is about that distance to the green. In fact, so. But it's one of those. One of the buttons will take your shot. The other will change between the options at the bottom. In this case, left and right are just power instead, which has changed the control scheme a bit. Yeah, okay, you can only select power and direct. You can't select your club here, you can just select power and direction. I don't know how much power we need. And just take the shot and okay. That didn't look like it was going in based on the map, but I will accept birdie. Yeah, this is IREM, NASCAR. It's the same story as Gunforce and Metal Slug, really. This is a prequel to a Neo Turf Masters. Look how fast that moves when you do maximum power on the. Yeah, this is a challenge. I don't think you're going to hit this. Oh, am I? Or maybe. It doesn't have the same refined controls that Neo Turf Master has, unfortunately. They say good shot. But at the same time, you can still tell that this is exactly where Neo Turf Master came from. On the green, you see? Just didn't say on the green. There we go, got a birdie. You only played the Neo Geo golf game. Yeah, so this is the game that the team that did Neo Turf Masters did before. This is the ping contest. They did this before they did Neo Turf Masters on the Neo Geo. This is their earlier title. Okay, I think I hit that high rather than long. But no, I hit it both heavy rough. Not the best shot, that. So I don't want this anywhere near full power. Yeah, there's a lot that was reused for Turf Masters. Oh, not enough shot, not enough power. It's just Turf Masters find the controls so much more. Added a bit more flair to the presentation with all the speech and everything else. No. Oh no. Now I've really messed it up. Well, I'm not saying the earlier birdie was a fluke, but the earlier birdie was definitely a fluke. Triple bogey. Tell you what, still one hole. I'm surprised it's not kicked me off the machine just yet. Because that was just dreadful. Look at that tiny little... Look, what chance do I have now? None. Player 1 whiffed. Should we try that again? On maximum power. Nope. Not a chance. Should we try it normal? It's going to be tricky enough as it is. But there we go. At least we hit it this time. But anyway, I'm sure we'll be kicked off after this. Should give us some height over the trees if we're lucky. Oh, yeah, on the green. Closer. And there we go, double bogey. I think it's going to tell us to get off the machine. Yeah. But major title 2. It's definitely Neo Turf Masters without the polish and with a control scheme that doesn't quite feel natural. You can very easily just take your shot when you don't want to because one of the buttons is always take shot. Yes, 1992 IRAM. It was done by the team that went on to become NASCAR. So it's only fitting that we should now play, in this case, the Neo CD version of Turf Masters. Let's speed up loading. Load. So, arcade game. Yeah, it is a pretty cool one if you've done the Turf Master stuff. So, stroke play. And Visitor 2.
Who do you play as?
German guy, obviously.
Please select your challenging course.
Peak mode. Well, secret course, Scotland. Do a half circle from left to right and press D on the course select screen, and you get the Scotland course on the Neo CD version. There's a SNES port of major title. I wasn't aware of that, Aussie guy. Are the voices way lower quality than on the I've not noticed the quality being significantly lower, but you can turn, I think, a lot of the voices off and other things to get rid of the loading times. Otherwise, you get quite a bit of loading. So, this is the evil, and I do mean evil, Scotland course. Right off the bat, we're in a bunker. Yeah. So, yeah, I figured there might be missing voices. I mean, it doesn't have enough memory. People will say the Neo CD versions are arcade perfect, but they're not perfect. The cuts did have to be made. As we've seen with like Art of Fighting before, it doesn't even have the zoom feature on it. Art of Fighting 3, that is. The double bogey. That's a good start, isn't it?
Double bogey.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best they could do at the time. And if it had more RAM, the loading times, initial loading times would be even worse. So, what could they really do? Cartridge was too expensive to sell. CDs required too much memory to load into and have loading times. So, yeah. Now look at this course. If the other one wasn't bad enough, now this Scotland course is not in the arcade version. I mean, I think anybody who plays this Scotland course probably doesn't care if it's in the arcade version or not. It's absolutely ridiculous. Taito has 3 Birdie King games. They do, don't they? They released 3 games very close together. Birdie King. Try again. There we go. Bounce off a rock onto the green. You can bounce off them. You can't land on them. You can bounce off them. And there we go. Yes, I had to retire from that hole because I did that badly. So what next? The longest driving contest. Okay. Let's take the longest one. Is this even going to make it to the land? I don't know. No. The answer is no. It is not. All of these courses, all of these holes on the Scotland course are just evil. Is that the right angle? Yes. I have gone through them all, and they get worse. They get worse and worse and worse the whole time. Well, at least it wasn't in the water. Even the greens are terrible. Look where the flag is, in the middle of a hill. Probably a bit less pout. I don't know. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's still tough. It's not going to get there, is it? Because
You must give up playing these holes.
I think I've played through this before and had to give up almost every single hole. Neo TF Masters is a good game, but this course does take it to the extreme. And yeah, if you owned a Neo CD and wanted tougher content than the arcade, look, just put a gluing tree straight in front of. Yes. So that was Neo Turf Masters on the Neo CD, a sequel to the IRM major title games developed by the same people who were NASCAR, same story as Gunforce, Gunforce 2 and Metal Slug, but for the golf games. And yeah, the idea of Neo Turf Masters was clearly already there in the older games. It just needed to be refined into the game everybody ended up loving. So worth checking out if you've not checked it out. And if you've played Turf Masters to death, you might want to check out the Scotland course there, or you might not. It's up to you. Let's have a look at this one. 1000 Miglia, Great 1000 Miles Rally. Kaneko. Apparently the PCB was by somebody else. Anyway, it's a racing game. This is the standard version, 1994 Kaneko. Choose your car. Let's choose a Mercedes-Benz. It's one of those race across Italy games. Press the accelerator. What hell, wasn't it? Now, this is the original release. Offers, I think, joystick or digital controls. And pretty decent experience. I think this is one of the better games in the genre. I actually like playing this more than the original World Rally Gallico put out. But everybody's going to have their own preferences. Ooh. Also, I'm not meant to crash already. Wow, I timed out on the first stage. That was not impressive. Yes, Kaneko's take on World Rally. Let's pick the Ferrari instead and try again. The first stage is not difficult. In fact, this is not a difficult game. I just messed up and crashed when I should not have crashed. There we go. There we go. A bit more concentration, and I finish with a good 5 seconds to spare. Yes, we finished it there. You can pick the stages in any order, so we can do this course instead. I'm not sure why it gives you complete free selection, but it does. And the later courses aren't necessarily more difficult, it just becomes more difficult as you get less time, as you progress. It sort of levels the stages with you, I believe, rather than being more difficult depending on where they are on the map. Though, you know, you might find some of the corners more difficult, but it certainly seems to get more aggressive timer-wise, rather than trickier course-wise. Oh, well, time out again. By 1 second. So, that was the original release. Now, what is worth noting is there was a reissue of that under the name Evolution Model. And so this is one of those that I would call a semi-sequel. If you know... No, let's set the title screen. So now they've changed the title screen and it says Evolution Model with a slightly different logo. And the presentation screen's spiced up a bit. Still the same basic courses you can select from. But look, now there's fire coming out the back of your cars. And, you know, it's got a lot of extra little effects. More things to make you feel the game is faster. And I think they might have upped the pace a little bit. I mean, it's not just the car I've chosen. But you see, they've upped the presentation, so... In some senses, this is an upgraded version of the game. It's almost a sequel in itself. It's the version that is also known as USA version. It's just got all these effects to make you think it's a much faster game. A much more intense experience. I've still failed to finish the first course again, look. Shall we pick the Ferrari again? So even if we pick the Ferrari again, we've still got all the extra effects, all the extra fire, all the extra... Look how fast our car is going. It's louder sound effects too, I think. It just makes it a more intense experience. Which the original game felt like it was trying to be almost realistic, whereas this Evolution Model is just kind of silly. It feels like an unofficial hack, but it's actually an official thing Kaneko did to the game to, I assume, try and give it a bit more appeal. Yeah, it just makes, like you say, Atom, it makes it super dumb looking. And yeah, I think the Gallico developers, because they'd worked on this type of game for a long time, and they'd worked on this type of game since the sort of computer days, the 8-bit computers. So when they did World Rally in the arcades, and then everybody suddenly was copying World Rally, I'm not surprised that they thought everybody was ripping them off, because they essentially were. Although I'm not sure Gallico can really complain, because Gallico did a fair bit of content that wasn't entirely super original themselves. I mean, I think Big Karnak even sort of traces over Karnov sprites and things like that and steals Street Fighter 2 sound effects. Or was it Street Fighter 1 sound effects? So, you know, the Gallico themselves were not always 100% above board. But, yeah, everybody did rip off Gallico after World Rally. This is the ridiculous and rather dumb version of the game, as mentioned. Let's look at that. So if you've only played the standard release, definitely check out the USA or Evolution models, because they feel like almost like they are sequels. And sorry if I missed any chat. Yeah, okay. The final years of getting away with unlicensed cars. I don't. Would they have been unlicensed? Maybe because it's a proper event, I believe. So it might the licenses might be tied to the event. Anyway, there was a proper sequel, which was 100 Miglia 2, and this is how that one looked. This is the year afterwards. Just say the trademark's granted to Kaneko, so the trademark may include use of the cars. Should I pick the floor again? So yeah, we can choose a track. There is a USA version of this one too, but I think it's the same. I don't think it makes things more over the top. But you can see here the cars are bigger. And you know what? That makes this a much worse game. You know, the good thing about the original game is the cars were kind of small. You could react to things quickly. I mean, you do have your mini-map at the top, which you'll be looking at a lot. Because without the mini-map, you have no idea what's coming up. Your car is taking up, I mean, a third of the screen horizontally. It's utterly ridiculous. I mean, I love the original and the evolution model, but this one, I mean, it's more forgiving as a result. I mean, I drove really badly there and still got over the finish line. But I would say it's objectively a less playable game. Yeah, the car is about twice as big as before, and that makes it very difficult. I mean, okay, they want more detail on the cars. They want to show off these cars that they are allowed to use, as presumably as part of the license they got for the event. But it's the expense of everything else. And also, I think there are fewer frames of animation on the cars too, because they're bigger, and obviously bigger cars take up more space, so you don't get quite as much animation. So they lose a bit of their personality. Although just fewer cars, I'm not sure. But it just doesn't feel as nice. It feels like a sequel. It absolutely feels like a sequel. It just feels like a sequel that was had lost some of the fun. I mean, yeah, you spend more time looking at the mini-map than the screen. I did just about cross the finish line. Say some nice photographs there. The presentation is good. You can tell where the picture came from at the top. Yeah, it's not the only game to have made the mistake of just zooming graphics too much to highlight something and just making a game that doesn't play quite as well. So. I mean, it is still playable. It's not like trying to play, say, Drift Out 94, where you play it and it just plays so badly you don't want to play it anymore. I'm not going to do Drift Out and Neo Drift Out because we've done these two. Or World Rally and World Rally 2. Because I don't want to oversaturate you with single genres. But yeah, I'd much rather play the first game than the sequel in this case. So, the tracks just seem less interesting too, I guess because they have to be to work with the zoomed in view. And I've qualified again. Anyway, so like I said, there was USA version of that, but I think it's the same. I don't think they changed much apart from the title screen. It just has an American flag and USA flashing along the bottom. It seems to be the same thing. Yeah, there aren't as many cars in this one. This doesn't have extra smoke effects or anything else, as far as I can tell. Does it? Or does it? No. I think it's more or less the same thing. So yeah. It's not like the USA version evolution model of the first game. This is just basically the same. So we don't really need to look at that one. Anyway. So, where shall we go now? Okay. Let's look at Puzzle Bobble 2. Puzzle Bobble 2 being a sequel itself. Again, a lot of the first games I'm playing are sequels in their own right. But it's fine, I'm sure. So, yes. I pre-rendered little bug there. So, there's the title screen. No, the card did not have a flamethrower. So, Puzzle Bobble 2. Sequel to a very famous game. Got your puzzle game computer versus mode. Your 3 levels of difficulty. Some nice scrolling effects on the background. And, yeah, it's sequel to a classic game. Versus mode that we're seeing now. Okay, I'm just going to lose on purpose. But yeah, the clouds have got a nice rose scroll effect in the background there. Quite like it. Very cute. I think the Neo Geo one port drops that rose scroll in the background. So you've got that mode in this one. And you've got your traditional puzzle game mode. So this is where you've got to solve the levels, solve the puzzles. This is more like the original Puzzle Bobble played. Mr. Do, yeah, Mr. Do has lots of sequels, including me and Mr. Do. It's not on my list for today, but maybe for another time, Carlo. Also welcome, good to see you. So yeah. The idea, it's very Bubble Bobble inspired. All the cuteness of Bubble Bobble. I mean, in that sense, they're sort of sequels to Bubble Bobble, spin-offs to Bubble Bobble 2, aren't they? Anyway. I suppose. While we are looking at Puzzle Bobble 2, we should also, yes, we should look at Bust a Move again, shouldn't we? Aussie guy. We should indeed. Now, this is technically the same game as Puzzle Bobble 2, both of them being sequels to Puzzle Bobble. Well, this is more a sequel to the unreleased Bubble Buster. Because this is where Taito once again thought, let's strip out all the cuteness. So we've got our modes. Oh, I've got to volume it up. Hold on. Yes, this is the one with the hands atom. In fact, let's let it run through the attract mode first. So, the attract mode is the title screen. Bust a Move again. Gone is all your lovely presentation. And yes, you have the hands and a wheel and explosions and sci-fi backgrounds and a big thumbs up. Yeah, we get the idea. You've still got your game modes. Silence on the screen for some reason. Normal, hard. Let's just play. Have a look at the versus mode. Yes. So, you know, what's his name? Michael Bay, eat your heart out with all the explosions. Yes, it's technically the same code base as Puzzle Bobble 2. They are both sequels to Puzzle Bobble. But all the music is different. This even uses different audio ROMs for the music because it was different enough that I guess it didn't fit in the original audio ROM, so they just had to use different ones. But yes, this is even, I believe, after after they decided not to release a game like this with the original Puzzle Bobble. This got released anyway. They didn't officially release their non-cute Puzzle Bobble 1. And Puzzle Bobble 1 was more known as the Neo Geo game, where even the Buster Move version had the cute Puzzle Bobble dinosaurs. But then for Buster Move again, they decided to try again for the US market. And yeah, I mean, it's got the modes. That was the versus mode. But it's all very plain. There's no nice road scroll effects in the backgrounds or anything. It's just, here's a background. Here's it feels so stripped back. It feels so minimal effort compared to the work that's gone into making Puzzle Bobble so cute. And yeah, you've got, again, you've lost your pretty level select screen. The puzzles are the same. But again, explosions, 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 more explosions. Mr. Do. You get the idea anyway. Yo, this. Yeah, and Taito Legends 2, when Taito Legends 2 was made, the correct audio ROMs weren't dumped, so Taito Legends 2 ended up with the broken audio, I think. Is that what you're saying? Because I believe I've heard that before. A lot of those packs back then were based on what MAME knew, and people just assumed it was correct when it wasn't, and so you got that. Anyway. What we're going to look at is the spin-off, which was Puzzle Bobble 2X. Now, this is one of those that I would consider to be a semi-sequel. The Japan-only release, but it is still Puzzle Bobble 2. There is no Buster Move equivalent to this. This is the only release like this. Still got your cute little intro. Got the sci-fi backgrounds in the intro there. But anyway. There you go. But yes, Puzzle Bobble 2X, which is Japanese. It's Japanese, but it's still got the same modes. It's got the X difficulty, which is the hard difficulty. Same type of thing. Now, in this mode, you just think it's Puzzle Bobble 2. The X is a more difficult mode, a more challenging mode, but it still really is Puzzle Bobble 2. Yeah, okay, you've seen it before. Cutesy Puzzle Bobble 2. Yeah, they did, Aussie guy, they did just region hack it and call it a day. So there we go. So we still have our puzzle mode. Again, it's got an X mode, which I think is probably some more challenging puzzles. It's mixed up the visuals a little bit. We do have your sci-fi background. We have, you know, it's changed a few things. It's still cutesy Puzzle Bobble at heart, isn't it? Oh, themed background. But, you might, unless you paid attention, you just think it was Puzzle Bobble 2. That's what I'm saying. You've got some different stages, some different backgrounds. It's using some of the content that was actually in the ROM for the Bust Move again. However, what you can do if you're at the title screen is press left, AA, left, no. Is it, or was it A, left, left, A? Yeah, A, left, left, A. No, that doesn't unlock this. This does have the Happy New Year thing. This was a Christmassy release where it will wish you Happy New Year. But that's not what I was showing off. Yeah, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think it would say, or maybe Happy New Year is a different track mode actually. But what we after entering that cheat, if it sticks now after I let that play, we now have Puzzle Bobble with explosions. So yes, the X version, which is a semi-sequel, adds cheat codes which lets players in Japan play with the ridiculous explosions from Bust Move again. I did show this, I think, recently anyway, but it was worth having a look at again. If you really want explosive Puzzle Bobble, then, yeah, this version was the one that delivered it to you. This semi-sequel. I guess you'd call it a holiday release based on the extra track mode scenes there. Yes, super explosive Puzzle Bobble. And it's a very weird mix because you don't expect the explosions when you're playing with the cutesy graphics, but yeah, I think maybe they produced this 2X version because they just wanted to use some of the resources that had been made for Bust Move again and didn't get used otherwise. It just look a bit more. It's a bit more dangerous, isn't it? A bit more severe, a bit more danger zone, Bob. You might want to keep out of here. It applies to the puzzle mode too. I think it applies after a credit, we'll see. Does it stick? No, it turns off after a credit. So, yeah, you're not going to change the arcade experience for everybody by doing that. It will change after a credit, but it is A left left A will do that. We'll put the little character in the corner to show you've activated it. There's also A right left A, which will do that and change it to a different set of puzzles in puzzle mode. And A left right A, which will just change the puzzles in puzzle mode. So the little secrets in Puzzle Bobble 2X, which are not there in the original Puzzle Bobble 2 release, which again is why, well, this isn't a major new release of the game. It is technically still a sequel that incorporates elements from both Puzzle Bobble 2 and Bust Move again. And yes, it can be Merry Christmas again. There is a Happy New Year one too, I think, if you let it run. Or do you have to turn it on separately? You might have to, I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, that might be. Configuration. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas. You can change it to Happy New Year. There you go. That's where you change it. I think it's the same animation, is it? I mean, Merry Christmas is a weirdly specific, yes, different scroll direction actually. Basically the same thing. It's a very weirdly specific set of messages to have in your game actually. I mean, how many arcades are going to have been open on Christmas Day for wishing people Merry Christmas, or even New Year's Day to wish them a Happy New Year. But that's Puzzle Bobble 2X for you. The Puzzle Bobble 3 doesn't have those codes as far as I know, and I could be wrong. The Saturn version of 2X does, or whatever that was released as. But I don't think the codes are in 3. But I could be wrong. I've not researched that, but I don't remember reading that they were. Okay, here's one with a quite loose connection. Now, this is Great Gurianos. This is actually maybe a bootleg set. I'm playing this version because it's a title that people know the game by. Now, this was developed by Illuma for Taito. And is, well, a walk along. You've got to move your shield up and down to block things. And also stab certain things. So, fireballs you can block. Those things you're meant to stab. I think, unless I'm wrong. I can't remember all the mechanics of this. And then we get a bit of a fighting section. It's actually quite tricky because you've got to block in 3 different positions with your up and up down, and then you can attack in 3 different positions. So you've got to attack where they're not blocking. It's quite strategic and tactical. And yes, you lose elements of your clothing when you're fighting. It's a strip fighter. I lost again. Illuma did make some bad games. This one was surprisingly popular at the time. Popular enough to get quite a few bootlegs. I mean, I kind of like it for an early fighting game. It's got some interesting ideas. The different attack levels, the damage to different components. I keep forgetting to block though. You have to remember to do too many things. You have to remember to keep your shield in the right place and remember to attack. But yeah, this is also known as Gladiator. There's also a version on the Type of Nostalgia pack, which I could have potentially covered. This game gives you Telenet vibes. It reminds me of is it Telenet? No, it's. Who are the ones that made Ernest Evans and stuff like that? Was that Telenet? Because it reminds me of them. Ow. And there we go. Victory. I actually won. That was Telenet, yeah. Yes, it does remind me of those things. It's all the different limbs moving independently, I guess. Right, another one. Yeah. But why am I playing this one? Well, if you thought this was bad, you'll be in for some fun. And then we get walk along section again. Yay. Ernest Evans, yeah, that's one of the ones. Well, not a complete walk along section, just walk to the next guy. I thought we had a bit more walking to do. I don't know. Anyway, game over. I did marginally better. What else did Illuma make? Blandia. This is essentially, yeah, it seems to be the export version, and people do seem to know it by that title, but also know it as Gladiator. Maybe Gladiator's a bootleg, and Great Gurianos is the official one. I don't know. Yes, Blandia. with the character Gurianos. And these have got the really ugly palette fades. It doesn't know how to use its own blending hardware properly, so you get all these really bad characters. But yes, now we just have a really bad basic versus 5. You're still losing your clothes, you see. I've still lost my top, but now I've not got the shield mechanic. It's just a very ordinary bad fighter, which can crash on you. This game has a bunch of soft locks, which just appear to be the game being completely unfinished, or not soft locks, resets. They just appear to be the game being unfinished. So yeah, sometimes you'll be doing just fine, and you get to the end, and it will reset on you because it's terrible. And every mechanic's watered down. I mean, you're not really made of lots of different body parts anymore, so the loss of like items of clothing is minimal, and you've not got your proper shield mechanic anymore. So it's just, yeah, you know, say he's lost a top in his shorts, but it's not quite the same. It doesn't feel as natural. And it just feels like it has no real purpose. It no longer feels like a telemech game. It just feels like a bad game. I mean, we could have done Time Killers and Bloodstorm if we wanted other games with random body parts. So double KO, look at that. Double KO does nobody any good. Yeah, I can lose my helmet too. Maybe there are more parts to remove than I thought, but it doesn't have that same feel where you just feel like the parts are there to be hit and targeted because they're moving independently. They just kind of happen. In Gladiator, if you hit a part, it was more likely to be removed, and you could kind of tell the parts you were meant to hit and which parts were going to come off. This is just bad. An arcade where a kid would play all day, and if you gave him a quarter he would let you pay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it does have some sort of segmented sprites, but you can't tell they're segmented, so it loses that kind of janky charm and just looks bad. Or I'm not really sure what they've done, but it doesn't have the same feel. You don't feel like you're targeting body parts. They just maybe they've tried to make it too realistic. But it just feels bad. Yeah, this was, but this is, yeah, 92. This is in the era of Street Fighter 2. So we'll pick a different person. We'll pick this one. And now we get to fight here in an equally generic looking level. Now what we've got. And the levels with blending effects that don't work even on real hardware. And oh look, I have lost most of my outfit, but at the same time it wasn't satisfying. I just feel like I've swapped to a different sprite. I'm sure there's some strategy to this or some move to this, but it doesn't have the unique control scheme that Gladiator had either. So while this wasn't meant to be a stream of bad sequels, we are seeing some that I don't think are especially good. Yeah, I don't know why we're fighting in this location. I mean, I don't know why anything... Do the elements of clothing even matter? Right, let's try and beat you at least. But, no. This is quite a common board to see as well. It's one of those that's was always up for sale back in the day, so even though it feels in some ways like a very bad, almost unfinished game, it isn't. Now, where are we going? Oh, we're going here. Another very generic looking level. Should we try and see if we can get any of the bad looking stages in the attract mode? I don't know if we can. A bit too fast to do. There we go. Look at this ground. What on earth is going on with this ground? It's doing some colour effect on the ground that just completely doesn't work. I don't know if it's meant to look like water, but it just looks broken. But that's how the PCB looks. Yeah. Blandia is not great. Let's be fair. Yeah, the whole game, the phase look like the palettes are being indexed wrong. The ground looks like the palettes being indexed wrong. It just... I don't know. Right, let's put a game up that I have proven repeatedly in recent weeks that I suck at. And I will no better this time. This is Kiki Kaikai, the Taito game where the MCU is now properly emulated. So, yes. Apparently this did get a release outside of Japan because Aussie guy found an export flyer last time, I believe. So, well, it's definitely not a common game outside of Japan. You may have seen it in arcades, but you're more likely to have seen one of the bootlegs, such as Night Boy, I think. But we're not going to spend too long on this. In fact, we'll probably get to the first boss and die, because that's what always happens when I play this. You love this game. I hope you're better at it than I was, Colin. Your attack range is so short that you have to be quick to react to all these enemy attacks. And yes, they are just simple triangular pattern attacks, but at that range, you move very, very slowly. And this is what keeps happening. This will happen until this credit runs out and I die. Yeah, it would be much easier with twin stick shooting, or you know, a don't change direction. You know, so difficult to avoid things. I missed the power-ups. That they may have helped. I didn't know there were any power-ups, to be honest. There we go. Kiki Kaikai. Layer 1 game over. That's not what I wanted to show off. That is the original game. But yes, that is the game that spawned... Let's not make that mistake again. These SNES releases. You have to kill an entire group of enemies with the power. That might make sense, but once you're stuck in that boss room, I guess you're not getting anywhere if you didn't do that. So Natsume made Pocky and Rocky, which is based off the same IP. Essentially, this could be considered a reworked version of that first game, but it does do its own thing. And technically, I would consider it a sequel. Bit of a story some time ago. We don't need the story. It's the Haunted Shrine. Probably Andre. And maybe I'll have to come back to it and actually try and find out where the power-ups are and give it another chance. But you see, I got a power-up there for killing those. But this is faster paced, and this did get a recent reboot, a remake on, say, the Switch and stuff like that, on modern systems, which I do happen to have. You can tell it's based on the same game. It may not be called the same thing anymore. It may now be called Pocky and Rocky, but this very polished looking rework. You have your dive into. It's based on that game we just looked at. Now instead of going down, I go back up 2. Okay, I died. No, I didn't say I was any good at this. In fact, I've not actually played the SNES original release of this for many years. But for the purpose of this video, I just want to demonstrate it. And now we're facing pretty much the same enemy again, look. Haha, I am your adversary. Slightly different attacks. It's much smaller things to dodge, though. Don't know if I meant to use a slide movement. Okay, well, I don't know. We respawn where we are. Don't restart the fight. Spitting these seeds at me. Your shots also reach the whole screen in this version. Not that I'm actually doing any better. We can down the boss again here. There we go. Do I go back to the start of the level? I better do, don't I? Yes. My failure is not rewarded with the aim to continue where I was. But, yeah. So that is a sequel that gets mentioned a few times on these streams, in fact, so I thought it was worth having a look at. Quick look at it. It did have another sequel, so we'll have a quick look at that. You could complete Kiki Kaikai back in the day, could you, Carlo? That's so that seems like some skill. Maybe with the power-ups, yeah, use the fans to deflate. I don't think you can use the fans to deflate the boss projectiles, can you? Justin, at least I didn't find the method to do that. But yes, so we got a second sequel. This looks very similar, to be fair. Do I need a lesson? Yes, okay. What was it? I probably... We've got a tutorial. It tells me actually how to play it this time. Yes, I think tutorials on how to walk are a little bit excessive. I'm just using the default CRT shader, Zeleth. Yeah. I'm not a fan of games that have really slow tutorials like this, to be honest. They did give me the option to skip it, but still. Here is how to walk is not the most thrilling tutorial. You have this and you're looking for the first one. Is the first one quite rare then, Aussie guy? Yeah, this is a very modern tutorial. It's like, here is the absolute basics of playing a game. I mean, I know we did badly on the first one, but a little a little unnecessary, I feel. But yeah, they're cute games. Decent shooters. Yes, I'm very bad at this. You are very disappointed. Do we really want to practice? I mean, sure. Practice the magic wand. Yes. I mean, it does tell you how to play the game. Yes, you see, we can use the magic wand, which has some range to it, but it's... You get the idea anyway. It got 2 sequels, and they're well presented, and generally well-liked games. It wasn't cheap. The other one was 200. Oh dear. I didn't realise it got that bad, Aussie guy. I guess that is the market for these things now, though, unfortunately. Okay, let's go with something. Let's go with another case of a semi-sequel. Magical Drop. I could go with a full sequel too, but Magical Drop, Magical Drop, Magical Drop. This is the original arcade Magical Drop. How accurate is MAME for SNES emulation? It depends what you're playing. It's not perfect. It's quite a few things it still fails on, and sometimes fails quite badly on. It's one of those where I'm willing to risk playing a game on it for a stream, but I have played games on the SNES on streams where I've just had to give up because the emulation's just not worked. Use the wand to get the power-ups in Kiki Kaikai. I've not really made use of the wand in Kiki Kaikai, so that's not where I'm going wrong, Carlo. So the original Magical Drop. Got this selection screen, which just appears to be 1-player or 2-player mode. I selected 2-player mode. It's 2-player versus mode. I don't have 2 players, so I will start again. So 1-player or 2-player, basically. And select your character. We'll select star. It's a Magical Drop. So, this original version is quite slow and laggy in your movement. It doesn't really hinder the game, but you do notice it if you play the later games, which are incredibly fast-paced games. You pull things and you push things, and you line things up into... So there's 3 vertically, and then any connected ones of the same colour disappear, basically. You can hold as many of the same as you want, which is an unusual mechanic. It's how it works, and there's a bit of a delay so you can get chains and the like. Which, there we go. Like, doing all those ones, 3 of these star ones of a colour will, or the symbol ones of a colour will make everything else like colour vanish. And yeah, that's Magic Drop really. Now for this original release, this is the only game mode present. Which is why I wanted to look at this one. We will try and win the round, at least. Now it's sometimes worth saving the symbol pieces so that you can launch a big attack later on. Like, there's not much point in me using the green ones right now because there's just not enough greens on the grid for it to start any combos or anything like that. On the playfield grid, same thing. I can do it anyway. There we go. So gets rid of all the greens, but whatever. Yeah, chain reaction in North American export, but that's the thing I'm going to mention. This is not the game that chain reaction is based on. Okay, so yeah, whatever. Speed up and lose. There we go. As I say, this has just the 2 options here. 1-player or 2-player. And then the character set screen. If we change to the semi-sequel, Magical Drop Plus, Note it says, well, Magical Drop +1. Which will start up shortly. So +1. You get to the title screen. It says +1 on there. Interesting, it says license from Russ. So I guess the Magical Drop concept was from Russ. Anyway, now if we coin it up, battle mode or solo play. Solo play was not there before. But at solo play, you get the endless mode. The original Magical Drop release did not have the endless mode. That was added in to the +1 release. I guess hence why it's called +1, because it's got one extra game mode, which is this mode, the endless mode. So I just thought that was an interesting little case of, you know, it's not quite the same game. They reworked the game, they re-released the game, they added +1 to the title, and now you have this version of the game. And this is the version of the game that the export version is based off. If you load up Chain Reaction, it will have the this mode, the endless mode. So I don't think outside of Japan you would have seen the original version without the endless mode, because it's not called Chain Reaction +1, it's just called Chain Reaction, and it has the mode already in place. So just one of those cases of a semi-sequel, a re-release of a game with a new mode, new content, without necessarily, you know, then giving it a brand new number. A bit more like the Puzzle Bobble 2X situation, where it's still basically the same game, but they've added enough to give it a distinct mark on the title screen, in this case +1, so you know you're playing a different version, a different, say, a re-release of the game with extra content. And, you know, I guess a re-release of the game with extra content is technically a sequel, just not a full sequel. Now, most people know this did spawn 2 proper sequels on the Neo Geo, Magical Drop 2 and 3. There were a bunch of ports on like the Saturn. I think even the Neo Geo Pocket Color, I think, got a version of Magical Drop. It became a very popular series. There's a new one out that I bought on the Switch recently, which is on cartridge. I imported it from Japan because the physical over here was cancelled. Unfortunately, it's one of those not complete on cart ones where they've done loads of DLC afterwards, and yeah, it would have been nice if the cart release had been delayed a bit so that all the content was there, but such is the industry these days. Anyway, Magical Drop, you get the idea. You can play this for a long, long time. It's based on Drop, developed by Russian company. What platform was that on, if any? Is there a playable version of Drop that I could look at some point? Or is it one of those cases of it's very difficult to run the original, a bit like Tetris, where you want to play the Russian version, you have to try and load it into some mainframe type system in a weird way. Yes, this was, say, the original Magical Drop. And this was Magical Drop +1. And I will briefly just now show Chain Reaction. Because if your Chain Reaction has the battle mode and solo play, you see, so that's got both modes, so it's based on the +1 version. That's what I was saying. And also they changed the graphics on Chain Reaction to make it more food-like. Which is something you didn't see in any of the sequels. Chain Reaction was one of those dead-end versions where they just reverted back to the Magical Drop theming for any other release. But we don't need to look at that. That's not really what the focus was of this stream. Let's get out the X68K again. Drop was for MS-DOS. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that then. That sounds significantly easier to get up and running than the old Tetris. Electronic Arts presents. This takes a little while to load, so You can stare at Electronic Arts golden logo. I think it's saying it's probably detected 4 megas, loading the 4 meg version. I'm not even sure. This is loading from a floppy disk or 2, so it's going to take a while. I've not got the disk drive display up at the moment, so... you can't play ZX Spectrum games on MAME. Does anybody tell you how to do it? You mean loading the games and things like that? You better find a good generic Spectrum. If you can get into the Spectrum, the soft list mounted, you just really need to work out how to use the Spectrum itself, and there are guides to doing that, depending on which game you want to load. Anyway, there we go. It's this is loaded. So, Cotton. Now, this Cotton was an arcade game, but the X68K version is a bit nicer than the original arcade, so we'll play with that one. Story. Now, we can make the screen glitch out a little bit when we use a weapon like that, but maybe it just does that on the hardware too. But you see, you've got some nice transparent clouds at the top here. The original System 16 hardware could not do that, so this X68K version is an enhanced version of the game. It's better than the arcade release. Does that make it a sequel? Maybe. It's a port with enhancements. And it does have extra content. It's a distinct release. It does have a few graphical glitches, like you can see the things above the status bar there. I don't know if that would happen on real hardware. It's not too distracting. It is a little distracting, but you could also just scroll that area off the screen if you want to use a MAME. Oh, I got lasered. Probably should have dealt with that more quickly. But yes, if you like your witchy shooters, then this is certainly a good one. One of those I like to play for Halloween streams too, along with Death Smiles and the like. Also not one I'm especially good at, but that doesn't stop me having fun. I always say when playing games that failure is an option, and sometimes it's a good option. It's nice to fail. I don't like games that are just too easy. In fact, I think I like failing at games more than I like beating games. Magic. Again, a nice one where it changes the colour of the boss depending on how damaged the boss is. I do like games that do that. You see it in Fantasy Zone 2 and Thunder Force AC that we looked at earlier on. Now you could say I'm cheating because I've got extra warning of what's going to fall based on the little area that I'm not going to see. It doesn't seem to chug as much. I mean, it does a little bit, but yeah, it's more powerful hardware. The X68K is significantly more powerful than the System 16 arcade board. But, we're not going to play this version for too long. experience points. So, no, it's a very, very pretty game. Great soundtrack too. We're fighting a tree who is throwing trees at us. I think this version might be slightly easier than the arcade 2, being a home game, but don't quote me on that. So, not that it's stopping me dying. Oh. Anyway, I had 8 credits, but I will call it quits there because I did technically die. Cotton is great, yes. So it did have some sequels, including someone's Saturn type hardware. So let's take a quick look at one of those, and that says Cotton Boomerang, which is on STV type hardware. This does require quite a high-end CPU to run in MAME at the moment, because MAME Saturn emulation is somewhat dreadful performance-wise. And yeah, the Saturn emulation code is... Yeah, you open up the file thinking you might want to improve it and close it in because it's so bad. There's Cotton Boomerang. Nice zoom effects. Nice use of the high resolution modes too. Also very loud. Turn it down a bit. So this is using the high resolution Saturn modes to present some very nice artwork, which is also why it's ridiculously slow unless you've got a decent CPU. Because well, the Saturn drawing code is really inefficient and does not cope well with high resolutions. But 1998, this release. Nice remix version of the theme. Success is also not really known. Yes, Success did Othello type games which aren't especially well known outside of Japan. You're right, Aussie guy, you're right. Yes, even in the arcade, Success have done a bunch of Othello games, haven't they? Hello, Othello. So you get a selection of characters this time, so we can pick. I'm gonna pick Silk and Needle. We have a team, in fact, and we could pick one of the versions of Cotton. So there we go. Okay, now we are actually the little fairy. And yes, you have this little thing. You can capture enemies and throw them around. Lots of rotation effects on this one. They really wanted to show what the Saturn could do as a 2D powerhouse, I think. Very powerful fairy, indeed. No, they're very, very pretty games, these ones, it has to be said. If you like your 2D shooters and you fancy 32-bit era effects with all the rotation and scaling, then yeah, these do that in plentiful amounts. Even the boss here. Again, we're back to the Telenet style bosses. Where everything's made of different little pieces that are rotating and moving around. Except here it actually looks good. Use that power charge. Change character. Right, that power charge. There we go, we're a different character. We're one of the versions of Cotton now. And that didn't work out. So those are effectively your lives too. As you can see, I just lost the other two characters by getting hit. Now it's tea time, so just like the other game, catch everything that falls. Or try to. Or shoot in this case. Or catch it, I don't know. Both, either, or. Why, I don't know, but you see this in quite a few Japanese games, just randomly. Tea time, collect everything that's falling from the sky. Yeah, a bit. You're right. Vanillaware look. I think. And MAME crashed. Well, there you go. Apparently, our Saturn emulation is even worse than I thought because MAME just outright crashed. Okay, that's don't play Cotton Boomerang in current versions of MAME because apparently it crashes on you. So, where are we going now then? Well, let's go spin-off. Yeah, we can do a bit of a spin-off since an unexpected crash. The OOPArts prototype is kind of part of the Cotton universe. Yeah, Odin Sphere is great. I do love a bit of Odin Sphere. So this is also by Success and has some of the Cotton characters in it. So I guess you could call it a sort of sequel. It's not called Cotton, but yes, the one that was called OOPArts in a magazine. There you go. There's your Cotton characters. This is a Breakout Arkanoid style game. To the moon. I'm not going to spend too long on this one because, well, no reason to. You can effectively tilt the screen by ramming yourself against the sides like this. It's a bit pinball-like in that sense. Yes, change the direction of the ball. Unfortunately, it's a bit slow-paced. Also, this is used... The sound might not be 100% on this because one of the sound ROMs that was on the PCB this was found on is from Thunder Force AC, which it probably shouldn't be. So, I don't know. Unless, for some reason, they developed it using the same sound effects that Thunder Force AC used, that seems like it's a mismatch. Still sounds good though. This might not be how it's meant to sound. For the samples at least. Obviously all the rest of the arrangements would be fine. But you get the idea. It's one of those breakout games with lots of custom things. Oh yeah, you've got powers too, which I just wasted. It's a bit... stages take too long, though. I can see why this would not have passed location tests. It's one of those where you can just play it for too long. Not bad, though. Presentation, it's very, very good. Again, this is basically Mega Drive hardware with a few changes, including better palette, but... and also a vertical screen, which you didn't really see if you were on an actual Mega Drive. But you can wrap around now. Look, I've broken the wall. I can no longer tilt it. I can just wrap around. There we go. That's that bit done. That is not the end. We get a little boss. I missed. And I died. Oh well, game over. There we go. That was OOPArts, a bit of a spin-off. And, yeah, we may as well quickly... because it's quite impressive. Have a quick look at Panorama Cotton on the Mega Drive. But the Cotton game's got plenty of entries. There are even new entries in the series. Space Harrier Cotton, basically, yes. Now, one interesting thing is that even the Dreamcast Cotton game that wasn't well received, I think it's Rainbow Cotton, is getting a reboot, a remake, where they've tried to fix it up and make it better, make it actually play like it should have played in the first place. And that's an into-the-screen shooter one like this one. I quite like OOPArts, but it needs, I think it needs something to pick the gameplay speed up a bit. It's a bit too casual. But yeah, this is Space Harrier Cotton for the Mega Drive. Or Panorama Cotton, as it's more correctly known. It's visually quite impressive. I mean, the Mega Drive is not built for doing sprite scalers, so got sprites probably pre-rendered at all the different sizes. Got a bit of a line effect on the ground, some rainbows, and some into-the-screen shooting action. Not every game translates perfectly to this perspective, and yeah, the more traditional Cotton games are still going to be considered the classics, but you know, I'm glad they tried to do this and make it a little bit different. Although it would have been nice if the Mega Drive had some more of the traditional Cotton games. For some reason, I think this is the only Cotton game the Mega Drive got. Whereas you would have thought, well, why not just put a Cotton one on, or even something like that. Yeah, I mean, if you had a Mega Drive at the time, you wouldn't really notice that this was a bit rough in terms of the frame rate, because it's what you'd be used to. I mean, even the Space Harrier port on the Mega Drive, I think, is 30 frames a second, and not the best. And if you look at something like Galaxy Force 2 on the Mega Drive, it's absolutely terrible. So, you know, much better playing this. Ooh. Dodging through stuff. Very difficult to guess which way I'm going to go, but yeah. So Cotton Panorama is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, the Space Harrier 2 port was quite an early one, so they've had time to learn the hardware a bit better, developers, and you know, if you're talking Mega Drive games, it's still quite an impressive one, I would say. It's just if you're used to smoother arcade sprite scalers, then it may leave you wanting. Where next? Okay. A bit of DJ Roy from Kaneko. This did get a Mega Drive port too, but we're not playing the Mega Drive port. We're playing the arcade port, the arcade original even, which is actually on Z80 hardware. 3 Z80s. I'm playing the Japanese version, which has different commentary. Most people will probably have played the American version instead. But this was licensed to Sega for distribution. There you go. Disc jockey Demon Kagure. Whereas the American version has a different DJ. But it is a beat 'em up. On your skates, go along, beat up all the enemies. Hey Tara, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, Super Thunderblade was another bad early Mega Drive port. Not very super at all. I always think it's funny that Sega did those games with Super in the title that started the Mega Drive run. That was before the SNES, and Nintendo sort of almost claimed putting Super in the title of their own. So if somebody says Super Thunderblade, you kind of think it's a SNES port, but it really isn't. It's just the name of the Mega Drive port, because it was before the SNES even came out. So yes, we run along on our skates and beat things up. kind of one of those games that you want to like, but there's so much momentum on your controls. You never fully feel in control. You're slow to accelerate. It just makes you not very maneuverable. Still, style-wise, it's it's pretty good. Beat 'em up when you're on skates. Hey, good idea. But you can just feel like you can't avoid things, and that because you're stuck on these skates. Now you see, even now you've got slightly odd movement. You've got a bit of momentum. It's not as bad as when it's scrolling, but still a bit off. I don't think it's a bad game as such, but it's just not as good as what other companies were putting out. I think Kaneko are underrated a lot of the time, to be honest. They've got more good games than most people give them credit for. So, put more credit in this one. Cat. Not even the cat stream when we found a cat. I'm not bad, Tara. I'm not bad. Say, just enjoying playing a stream where I'm looking at sequels and games that are related to each other. I believe this is the boss that got changed in the export version too. At least one of the bosses did. Oh dear. Yes, this was censored. Sega obviously did not feel the need to censor this. I wonder who insists on the censorship for the export version. Because usually it's the distributors that decide, yeah, we really want to censor this. And Sega must have been perfectly happy with this. Poorly edited. Yeah, as Aussie guy says, in the North American and World sets, Wolfman Jack did the voices. Anyway. There does seem to be a bit of unwanted graphical flicker in this, but I think the board might do that too, I'm not sure. Say you do see a few bits of flicker. However, it's not the most powerful piece of hardware. It's 3Z80s driving a reasonable graphic chip, but you do have that bottleneck of the CPU and filling the display list. And more scrolling. Now, I'm sure most of you know what game gets covered after this one. Yes, on to B.Rap after this. We'll wait until I die and then move on. In fact, let's just allow myself to be beaten up. There we go. Continue. No, we're okay without continuing. There's our DJ speaking the original Japanese. No dubbing in this version. There you go. DJ boy. Honestly, I don't think it's terrible. They maybe should have done it on 68K based hardware. The hardware just feels somewhat behind the times. But anyway. Onward. And this one's got its own set of story, really. Own story, even. So, B.Rap Boys. This is one of the games I emulated back in the day. It's one that's still got an incredibly complex protection simulation. Actually, the MCU's never been decapped, so this is still relying on on a very complex simulation, which decrypts a load of data from an external ROM. It has been said that there were plans for this to be a Beastie Boys game, and that just never happened, so it just became B.Rap Boys. But there you go, B.Rap Boys. 3-player game. Very much following in the vein of BJ Boy. Except now it is on 68k raised hardware with a lot more capable hardware that can do line effects and all sorts. So, and run a bike. But still. See, it's very similar though. They're on skates, we're on a bike. And yes, we have the rap music. Yes, essentially DJ Boy 2. It's thematically connected. They're both by Konami. And while it doesn't have DJ Boy in the title, I mean, it's auto-scrolling, it's got people on skates. It is DJ Boy. Now I'm on my skates, you see. I've lost my bike and on my skates, which makes it even more like DJ Boy. Yeah, I don't know if it's true or just one of those urban legends, but I've read it many times that it was a consideration, but it might not be true. It might just be a rumour that keeps getting spread by people such as myself, because I've read it somewhere. It might be rap, Beastie Boys. I can see where people might have got the connection, but at the same time, you know, Japanese media did love to borrow from ours, and might have just wanted to cheekily get away with it and never intended to involve any kind of licensing deal. I'm not entirely sure, but it is a rumour I've read a few times over the course of the years. I don't know if anybody from Konami Kaneko has ever been interviewed to confirm either way. You see, there's a lot more going on. So you've got your multiple planes, so you've got your window, you can jump through it, the environments are quite complex at times in this one. There's places to jump up, jump over, jump on, good selection of weapons, and some solid gameplay for 3 players. It does have a bit of slowdown if you've got 3 players involved, but again, kind of expect it. I believe you can one credit clear it if you're careful and know where to get energy if there are recharges. Otherwise, it does feel like a bit of a coin launcher, but so many of these beat-em-ups are. Yeah, I think this one was much less common. It didn't get ports. I mean, DJ Boy got ports. People knew about DJ Boy. B.Rap Boys, I mean, I don't think it got ported to anything. Anyway, that was B.Rap Boys, but say that has its own story too in some senses, because there's also B.Rap Boys Special, which is yeah, this is basically another sequel. They did B.Rap Boys. They clearly weren't happy with it, and much like we saw with Great 1000 Miles Rally, where there's the Evolution model, another Kaneko game, we got B.Rap Boys Special, which remixes things. The title screen here is still the same, but if you insert a coin, you get the B.Rap Boys Special screen up there. And it does seem pretty similar on the surface. The stage order is the same. Yeah, it's rebalanced. It's got new enemies that weren't in the previous game. It's got extra graphics ROMs. It's just reworked in places. So even the first stage will have some extra enemies. So it's one of those I'd call a semi-sequel. But it's up to you. I mean, you might prefer the original release, you might prefer this release. I can't really say which one was most common, because none of the versions were common. It's a very uncommon game, and which makes it even more surprising that it's got, you know, both the regular release and a special release. So far, there's not really much change, but there are other changes. There we go. You've lost your balloons now. I'll get to my bike. Yeah, maybe a bit late, but no, Capcom was still pumping them out quite late. I think it could have done maybe a Saturn port or something like that, but never got one. I don't think that guy was here in the other version, was he? Picking me up and throwing me around. Meanwhile, this guy's just stood on a table. Let's picking up a chair. Anyway. But yes, if you've only played the regular version, make sure to check the special version too, because it does change enough to be noticeable. Yeah, it would have been perfect on the Saturn with a double pack, something like that, Atom. You know, if they'd done an arcade perfect port of DJ Boy, unlike the Mega Drive version, say, new enemy again. But, I mean, it's quite fluid. There's plenty of enemies. They're quite large. They're large. It gets busy with 3 players. It can hold its own, this one. It's got some humorous moments later. You're fighting a bull and things like that. Yeah, I think at the end of the stage. I mean, it's done in a tasteful enough way. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of DJ Boy, which was not so tasteful. Enemies don't flicker. I mean, they do a little bit at times. There is some flicker. I've seen original hardware videos of this where, in certain cases, you get a bit of flicker. Okay, I'm getting beaten up here. Come on. Take a lot of hits. So, this car is not in the regular version. That's been added to special. I don't know. I don't know why, but yes, random car. I don't think the car's even in the graphics of the original game. I think they added this to the graphics just so they could put it here to beat up. I guess because beating up cars in fighting games is something that just has to happen. Also, your preferred version. But yeah, obviously they wanted to improve this version. Got to trash the car, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that's enough of B.Rap Boys and DJ Boy and the like. We're on almost on 3 hours. Okay. Well, a lot of my playlist is not going to get done in that case. What's a quick one? What's a quick one? Shall we go with... Let's delete that. Which one of these shall we end with? I'm looking at my list and thinking which one shall we end with. Let's go back with the shooter. Let's go with Sonic Wings 2 on the Neo Geo. Again, this is a sequel itself. Sonic Wings, Aero Fighters, whatever you prefer to call it, was a release on Video System's own hardware. It was a vertically scrolling shooter game. A pretty good one that in many senses inspired other games. I mean, you get games like Strikers 1945, which seem more directly connected to the original Aero Fighters games than even these were. And I think there was good reason for that. I think it was some of the same staff. This is the one where you can select a dolphin called Spanky, so let's select a dolphin called Spanky. This is the world's first dolphin pilot. Yeah, the follow-up to Sonic Wings Aero Fighters. Now, I do prefer my vertical shooters to be on vertical screens, but unfortunately the Neo Geo did not provide that option. There are no vertical games during the Neo Geo's regular lifespan. I think one of the NG Dev games does give that option, but it's a shame that SNK didn't allow developers to do it back in the day, because we might have seen a whole selection of vertical shooters for a vertical NVS cap, but they didn't, and I guess that's because they wanted every game to work everywhere, basically, and also be a portable home system, and they wouldn't have wanted vertical games on a home system, because not everybody wanted the Tate mode of rotating their TV. Yes. At least I didn't pillar box it like 1945 Plus. No, 1945 Plus. I still don't like that one. I still think that's an ugly, ugly, ugly version. It might have changed the gameplay up from 45 to a bit, but it is so ugly. 45 Plus, and doesn't really change enough to make it feel worth playing. But yeah, if you look at things like the power-ups between Aero Fighters and Strikers 1945, though, they're basically the same powers. Same visual style, same everything. But that's not really what we're doing. We're not doing Strikers, we're doing Aero Fighters, Sonic Wings. The original Aero Fighters, Sonic Wings, also has a hidden title that's not used in any set. I can't remember what it is, but there is a title logo in the ROMs for an entirely different title screen that's not used anywhere. In Aero Fighters 1, that is, Sonic Wings 1. I did look through the code and there didn't seem to be any references to be able to use it. So Aussie guy will probably remember the alternate title that Aero Fighters 1 was meant to have. I do not, off the top of my head. Oh, I skipped over the dialogue, sorry. I'm not a big read the dialogue in games person. Why games with excessive amounts of dialogue or tutorial at the start tend to just annoy me. It's like, just let me get to the game. I was trying to play that Sandbury game earlier, which looks like a really nice little platformer game, but yeah, it's so slowly paced in terms of the amount of dialogue it wants you to read through at the start of the game. It's almost killing it for me, even though I know there's a good game buried in there. That's on the Switch. Unfortunately, that's just the way a lot of modern games are. Very, very dialogue heavy, and I'm not a big fan. I'm more let me play the game type of person. The flickering doesn't look great. No, that's the thing. People picked up on it back on the day that the Neo Geo can't do transparency, so it has to do flickering. It can't do some basic things that the Mega Drive can do and the SNES can do. I mean, you know, you can say super 24-bit hardware, whatever else. It's got its limitations. Hey, look, we've got a silly bonus stage where this just gives you lots of power-ups. I mean, what was the point in that? Gee whiz, I am drying up. Well, there we go. There's have some dolphin dialogue. Statue of Liberty. Anyway, so this did see another sequel on the Neo Geo, which was Aero Fighters 3. Much the same. You know, it feels like a similar game with new content. Nothing revolutionary. Probably not the sequel I'm going to be looking at. I mean, there we go. Over a theme park. Oops. And even the fonts have remained the same over these Aero Fighters games. Very video system font, that. Flickering just about works on a CRT. You can still almost tell. But that was Sonic Wings 3. But it got a sequel in Aero Fighters or Sonic Wings Special, which is going back to your traditional vertical orientation. Now this runs on PlayStation based hardware. This is one of the ZN systems. See, ZN hardware. 1996. M.I.A River. That was the American side of Video System. They worked with them on a few other games. Credited in Tao Taido at least. I think, is it Karate Blazers? I want to say maybe even another one. With Aero Fighters Special. Now you see here they return to the vertical aspect for this 1996 release. I still think M.I.A River is the silliest name ever. So we've got a bunch of characters. We still have, well, the Dolphin, who is now Whitey. Maybe he was always Whitey in the American version. I can't remember. But yeah, back to our traditional Aero Fighters. Like the first game, we are back to vertical, which I think is how these games should be. Super Hotel Kyoto, which is now dust. Could really not have put, you know, armed it to the teeth if it didn't want it blowing up. But yes, it's nice that the series did return to a vertical aspect. Even if it feels weird playing a shooter when you know it's a PlayStation in the background like this. It doesn't feel so weird if it's Saturn, but when it's PlayStation hardware, it just strikes me as, yeah, a 2D shooter. Why is it PlayStation hardware? Doesn't really do anything PlayStation-y. The PlayStation is not the strongest 2D platform, to be fair. I think that's why it feels odd. But anyway, I've got more than enough content here for another stream on these. And I'll probably end up doing that because we are now on 3 hours 5 minutes, and I was only planning this to be a 2-hour stream, so you've got a bonus hour out of it already. This is way harder. Just this version, or is it because the Aero Fighters version is harder, or is it one of those regional things? Is what I'm trying to say. Maybe the Sonic Wings Limited is easier. Sometimes you do get that with the American releases. I've not tried, but yeah, it is a bit harder. It definitely kicks you off the machine a bit more quickly, and the number of bullets already on this first stage is quite high. There are quite a lot of them. You can destroy a lot of the bullets, which is, you know, handy. All those little elliptical ones you can destroy. The regular bullets you can't, unless you use a bomb, in which case you can. And yeah, the boss is a bit bullet spongy as well. I mean, I would have quite liked this boss to be dead already, but now the boss is dead. I am Genius Dolphin. No one can touch me. You do have a charge shot. Which I've not been using. Anyway. I just wanted to show that one off. But I think for this stream, since we are now on 3 hours and 7 minutes, that is going to have to be your lot. So I think we've had a varied selection of sequels across arcade and home systems, some spin-offs, some better known ones, some good ones, some bad ones. Yeah, I think it's what I want to do with the stream. I was considering doing Strider and Osman as sort of the spiritual sequels, but I guess that's quite well known at this point. And we did do Major Title and Turf Masters, which are sort of similarly connected. Different companies publishing different systems, but you know, somebody on the team who was the same. Anyway, that I think is all I have for you. So thank you to everybody. It's been a nice busy stream with lots of people talking away, and yeah, Mirko River was a license for video systems. Aussie guy with the facts as always. I mean, I've not been able to read out all Aussie guy's facts because I've been trying to play the games. But if you're in the chat or want to look at the chat on the replay, which is working today, thankfully, then Aussie Guy's comments are always worth reading for random facts about the games. But anyway, that is that, and I will hopefully see you all on the next one.